Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talking About Birds, the only Cardinal podcast sinking harder than a Steven Matz fastball. My name is Nate Heininger, and I'm joined by my co-host, Ben Samorka.
What is up, Nate?
If you have an idea for the opening bit, text or leave us a voicemail at 848-48-BIRDS. Hambone, how you doing? Doing well?
Fantastic, Nathan. I am flying high today.
Wow. Well,
Did a little wake and bake this morning, brother.
Oh, my dude. Hell yeah. Oh, yeah. Our nation's most glorious holiday is this weekend. I, of course,
Easter?
mean 420, baby.
Oh, hell yeah.
Easter lands on 420. I know you're in Colorado, so you're required by law to, eat, I don't know, some sort of ham glazed in weed or something like that. Like some sort of
ham glazed. Yeah.
I don't know, like Easter, like mashed potatoes, but instead of like little chives or whatever, it's just weed.
Yeah. They just make it's like a thing that you can sprinkle on any food now. It's, yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Happy Weed Easter to any and all who celebrate. A couple units of business to get to.
Yes.
Before we get into the show proper. So this weekend I will be on C70's show. Meet me at Mutual. It is now a yearly tradition of it being scheduled while Ben is in sunny California going to Coachella. Oh, you're going to be at you're going to have Coachella while Weed Easter is going on. Is that right?
Oh, dude. Yeah. I mean, just the clouds are going to be unbelievable.
So look for that. Releases on Friday nights. I'm going to the belly of the beast, Hambone.
Wow. Very nice man who's been very good to us. But yeah, sure. The belly of the beast.
Yes. And you're going to Brochella. So we'll talk about that more next week as you report on all the tunes that you experienced.
Baby. God, I love the tunes.
Real bad guy from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh,
no, he hates
Dr.
the tunes.
Doom?
Yeah,
but he is a tune. Spoiler alert,
yeah.
He is a tune. Dr. Doom, is that his
a
name?
race trader. Yeah. No, not Dr. Doom is Marvel and is Robert Downey Jr.
No, wait. Isn't his name Doom something?
It's bad guy from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Judge
Doom. I was close.
I'll give it to you. What is a judge but a doctor? A doctor of the law.
Yeah. Makes sense to me.
Makes sense to me too. So you'll be there. We'll talk about that next week. Also, this weekend, on Weed Easter Eve, I will be participating in the Cardinal 5K. So if there's anyone out there listening, maybe and they're participating, maybe I'll see you down there. I got a good group, a good crew. We do it every year. It's a fun run. It's fun to run downtown. I love these downtown ones where they close off all the streets and this one you run from Bush to Energizer Park, which is the new name for City Park, which I went to on Sunday night. And new name, same stadium. They no real changes.
Yeah.
And Enterprise,
you go to these footy matches all the time, although I can't remember the last time you went to a Cardinals game.
Yeah. Well, I need
to find a new co-host is what I'm saying. You suck.
I think I also need to find a new co-host.
Deal.
I was at the footy match on Sunday night, and the culture of these games typically is that everyone stands, but not everybody was at this game, but the people who were sitting right in front of me were standing. And so I like to stand at these games anyway, but like I do try to be like a courteous, participant, and like the people who were sitting behind me clearly did not want to be standing Also had very heavy, some like Russian, Eastern European accent or something like that. And so I was kind of standing, but then finally the people in front of me sat down. And so I sat down, and behind me, I heard them say, "Yes, it is a beautiful day for sitting."
Interesting. Yeah, soccer matches sound fun.
Well, you've got, of course, your Colorado Rapids that you could.
Yep.
I meant to bring this up like many shows ago. Because you went to one of their games last year. They played them recently, and we saw a person holding a sign. Have you heard about this? I think it's like Go Rapids, but up the Pids. It's been stuck in my head for months now. Up the Pids. It sounds like a venereal disease.
Yeah, it does. I'd like to say that person does not represent Denver.
So anyway, up the Pids. It's good and bad, I guess. One other,
definitely bad.
One other thing, and you wanted to talk about this, so I don't actually know what you want to talk about here, but you've mentioned the Slinger Dog. Sounds very important to the show. So,
well, I don't know how we have not talked about this year. This is a new food item at Busch Stadium. Obviously, you wouldn't know because you haven't gone to a game. So,
of course,
you are who you are. But the Slinger Dog sounds like an amazing little treat. It's an all beef hot dog topped with fresh hash browns, taco meat, and 2 sunny side up fried eggs. It weighs roughly 1/3 of a pound.
It only weighs 1/3 of a pound with all that on it? I'm actually kind of surprised.
I think it's the dog that weighs 1/3 of a pound, because I'm looking at a picture of it, and this thing is hefty. I mean, it looks like a brick.
Yeah. It probably feels like a brick after you've eaten it as well.
I think it sounds pretty damn good.
Yeah, I think you can basically pile almost anything savory onto a hot dog, I think, and it's probably going to be pretty good.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I think you need to get to the ballpark and try this.
It's probably like $23 also.
I was reading it was, I don't have it in front of me, but it actually was under $20, which I was impressed by. But it's probably, I'm going to say it's fantastic.
Yeah, it sounds good. I'm a little hesitant to, like, are they cracking and frying up eggs?
These look like, I'm looking at the picture right now. That's what it looks like. These look like
I got
classic
line cooks back there. Like,
maybe
that is not how I've experienced any food being made at Busch Stadium.
You'll find this near section 132.
Okay, all right. That's what I like. That section. That's a good section.
So I think we talked about French toast last week. Is that true?
Yes.
And I was thinking about French toast after we recorded, and I thought of something, and I want to get your reaction to this, and tell me if this is good or not.
Okay.
French toast dip, like a French dip, but with French toast. Is that good?
I think I a few clarifying questions, if I may.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have some answers, I think, already, but please fire away. Yeah.
So you're using a French dip as your source of inspiration here, but it's a French toast dip.
Right.
Okay. So do we have French toast and then we're dipping it into like syrup or something like that? Because I think that's just how some people...
I think...
Do we have an au jus?
Two options. You have your buns or your sandwich bread is French toast, and then you put traditional French dip inside, and then you can dip into maple syrup or jus. I mean, it's really whatever you prefer.
Okay, so we're doing some sort of buttery egg wash bread as the bread with roast beef in the middle. Yeah, and then that is dipped into syrup. So I'm stuck. Like, that sounds horrible to me, the syrup part. Like dipping.
I think you're wrong. I think it sounds good.
That sounds so sickly sweet to me that I think I would. I don't think I would enjoy that. However,
but then you have the saltiness of the meat. I'm telling you, this is a $1 million idea
Are
right
we
here.
doing a
French
fat?
toast dip.
Yeah, are we doing like a fat stack of meat here? Are we doing like a thin?
You think this is not like a healthy option here? Yeah. What are you talking about? Of course,
Well,
we're going hard.
some places it's like your French dip is gonna be. I don't know. I think that could be good. I'd probably lean towards the au jus dip though. I'm a
Okay.
salty, savory guy more than
All right.
though I'm quite sweet. So I like the name French toast dip. I think that seems obvious. I'm kind of surprised that maybe that doesn't already exist. I was afraid that you meant some sort of like really bready syrup dip that you're like dipping a chip into or something like that.
I mean, I'm open for that too. But no, I was thinking, yeah, exactly how I explained it. I think it sounds fantastic. And I think that probably everybody listening thinks it sounds fantastic as well. Maybe we should make some.
Do you like a bread pudding?
Of course.
Yeah, I like a bread pudding too. So
With a little a la mode. Come on now.
okay, all right. So I've been on the record saying that a French dip is one of my favorite sandwiches. So
That's what I'm saying, dude.
yeah, I guess like an egg wash toast as the bread. I'm probably for it. I think I'm on board now. Just don't dip it in syrup.
Maybe I give you two. You get 1 cup of syrup, 1 cup of au jus, and you can try it out.
All right. No more Coachella. I'm still doing the 5K, but this will happen after the 5K.
You'll have earned your French toast dip.
There we go. Yep. All right. Deal.
Thank you. I just had to get that out.
Yeah. I mean, it's free real estate right there. You're just handing that out. Anyone listening, can just run with that.
$1 million idea, baby. That's a food truck easily.
That is a food truck easily. I've got like 9 different ideas for food trucks, but we've gone too long on this.
Pack show, Nate.
Crab Rangoon food truck. All right. Cardinal baseball this season, man.
Yeah.
Wow. We're really. Part of me thinks this is just what a 500 team. I'm like trying to remember back to last year. I'm like, is this just what a 500 team feels like? Just a team that sometimes looks like the best team in baseball. If you remember back to 2024, I believe it was the month of May, the Cardinals were the best team in the National League. They had the best record in all of the National League in the month of May in 2024. And then we know how that season ended. I'm getting little shades of that this year, but I don't know. There's certainly some underlying elements that make me feel like this team actually is kind of good this year with some real glaring holes that might keep it at sort of a 500 level team. Now that we're actually about 10% of the way into the season, maybe exactly 10%, which feels kind of crazy. So we are still deep in the swamp of small sample size, but it's also, we're getting there. So how are you feeling about the team right now?
I'm feeling like the offense is pretty legit. I do think we should pour some water on, I don't think Brendan Donovan is going to be one of the best players in baseball all year, although I do think he's fantastic. But I do think the offense is real. I think the defense is real. And I think the pitching had a really, really good week, and we'll talk more about that. But this team has flaws. It should also be noted, even with the week that they had, they're in 4th place in the division, and the division is not that good, although the Cubs look like they might be legit.
Yeah.
But yeah, this team should be fine, and they are overperforming my expectations, and I think everybody's expectations on the offensive side. And I think we said this last week or the week before, if we're going to have a mediocre team, having a dynamic, powerful, fun offense will make that medicine go way smoother all year. Just because, it makes you feel like you have some fight, you have some things to watch, you have the progression of players like Victor Scott and Jordan Walker to wish upon and watch. It makes it all a lot better.
It does. And add in the fact that the offense is the lineup in general is pretty much exclusively people who are here for the long haul. We can talk about your Pozos and things like that, and Ciani's, the sort of fringes of the lineup, but outside of Arenado, who still had 3 years, including this year, so it's not like he's out the door anytime soon. Outside of Arenado, though, everybody has still years of control. I mean, we're talking most of these guys are in their first or second year. So it's not only fun as it is just more fun just to watch a team that can score runs. There's few things more deflating in watching baseball than just seeing your team be just pathetic. I almost rather give up bombs left and right, but at least you're still like seeing home runs and things like that. Just watching your team, watching your team be feckless offensively is just like maybe the least fun thing you can have in baseball. And then the part of the team that is struggling is the pitching, and that's where it's like, man, a lot of these guys might not even be here by the end of July, let alone
by the half. Yeah, exactly. Like they are not here for long. Yeah.
Which is both a good and bad thing. It's good because it's like, well, this isn't the long haul. We might not have to deal with this for forever. But it's like, okay, well, who are their replacements, and are they even going to be? It's just such a giant question mark. But that's what we've known that from the beginning, that the pitching was going to be a question mark. Hopefully, we get some better answers this year. But the offense being good is a good sign, and does give you some real hope for the team being competitive. Maybe this year, but certainly in the next few years.
Yeah, I mean the Cardinals have the fourth most runs scored so far this season. That's just going to be fun no matter what.
Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, they also have it's the ninth most earned runs. So, there's just a lot of scoring happening in Busch Stadium, which is also kind of weird, but again, it's a much better baseball to watch than kind of even on the other side of both of those. It's at least things are happening and we're having fun.
Well, and that offense has been against, I know this has been all over the broadcasts and whatnot, but it's been against guys like Zach Wheeler, Framber Valdez, Paul Skeens. They've seen some really good pitching, and the approach has been consistent across the board, which has been really great to see.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is how a good team faces good pitchers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get, even with that Hunter Brown start, he looked really good, you had Hunter Brown at like 40-something pitches in the second inning, and that's just because you're not swinging at bad pitches. You're fouling off good pitches, and that is how you should attack every starter, let alone these really good starters that are throwing straight gasoline. It's fun to watch. It's pesky. It's what the Dodgers team does to a lot of teams. Like, you might not win in the it's every game is kind of a marathon rather than the Cardinals just like flailing wildly. Okay, we might not get Hunter Brown in through the fourth, but if we can get him out relatively early and then pick on the bullpen, we can win a lot of games like that. Now, Hunter Brown had a great start last night. He turned it around. He's really, really good, but you love to see it.
You do. Yeah, if only the Cardinals had some sort of offensive juggernaut like the Dodgers, like Tommy Edman. You know what I mean?
Ooh, yeah. Those swing changes really seem to have found some power for old Tommy.
Yes, he's doing very well. Before we jump into the specifics, just another note on this last week of games. We ended last week's episode talking about like, this is going to be a tough week. This might be a really rough week for the Cardinals fans because he had 3 against Philly and 3 against Houston, and the Cardinals take 2 of 3 against Philly and are right now playing the rubber match against the Astros. So have a chance to go 4-2 over this really tough week of games. So you can't be anything other than happy about that if you're hoping for the Cardinals to compete this year.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even played anyone in the Central yet. We haven't played all these soft teams yet. So, yeah, it's there's also something to do with timing, like catching certain teams when they're maybe not firing on all cylinders, and that's okay. But Zach Wheeler is Zach Wheeler.
Yeah.
He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. Paul Skeens is Paul Skeens. Putting up good starts against those guys is huge, no matter what time of year it is.
Yep. And all right, let's get into some of the specifics of some of the news and beats from the last week. So as we speak, the Cardinals have begun their plan of extending to a 6-man rotation as the schedule sees fit. And Steven Matz is getting a start. He's been good out of the bullpen. I'm not following the game right now. I'm trying not to do that too much while we record. But I think he's definitely earned this spot, this start, whether it's the right thing, big picture to do or not for the Cardinal pitching development. It is what it is. They made the decision and they're trying to win games. And I think it's okay. So how are you feeling about Mats in the rotation?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Obviously we were pro Liberatore getting the spot over Steven Matz to begin with. And I think that that's played out well. I think that using a 6-man rotation, especially when you're going for, we got quite a few games in a row with no days off and not overworking Sonny Gray and not potentially, keeping Eric Fetty, who is potentially like really exciting trade target for a lot of teams, or just a guy in your rotation this year. Keeping those guys healthy is key. And then I think I said this a few weeks ago, but the added benefit of kind of pushing back Miles Michaelis and delaying the inevitable there is always good. Although he had a very nice start here this week as well. So you can't be too mad about that. But I think it makes sense, and I am pro 6-man rotation. You kind of talk about the future of baseball should be all closers all the time. I think 6-man rotation makes a lot more sense. Everybody pitches once a week. Keep your arms healthy. Now that does mean you have to find 6 viable starters, but the Cardinals kind of have that right now, sort of ish, at least enough to fake it. So
sure,
yeah, I'm pro this move. I think it's good. Keeping Sonny healthy, and like I said, keeping Fetty healthy should be prime motivations here. But yeah, I'm pro it.
Yeah, and to clarify, I don't necessarily think it should be all closers all the time. I think it's going to be, unless baseball makes significant changes to the rules to protect pitchers in a way that they've not yet so far. I think it's going to be 3-inning guys. Everyone's going to go 3 innings. Some of them will go more often than others.
So stupid. Yeah.
But that's the way it's going to go. Mark my words.
You are wrong.
Archaeologists in the future, when you're digging out ancient podcasts, you'll hear the sage words of Nate Heininger. He saw it coming, folks, as they watch baseball on the moon. Okay. They're all 8'5".
Is this the Expanse reference? Is that what you're doing?
No. My theory of nonstop human growth and also just the future. I assume we're going to play baseball on the moon.
Wow. Okay. That was a lot. That was a lot to take in for one little salvo, but okay.
I don't think I've seen The Expanse.
It's pretty good.
That's a show, right?
It's a TV show, Sci-Fi Network, I think. There's these people, they move to the what do you call it? The asteroid belt, and because of the lack of gravity, they grow to become very lanky, very long, lanky people. I think it was also a book series. I don't know.
But, I think you're right. Anywho, Mats is starting. We'll see how it goes. Probably the biggest bummer news of the week.
Dude, bummer,
dude. It's Wheat Easter too. Come on.
Oh man.
Masyn Winn placed on the 10-day IL. Rough start to the season for Winn. Kind of comes out slow. Actually starts to turn it around offensively, looking pretty good. And then now on the 10-day IL. There's some interesting opportunity coming out of this, which I want to talk about. But, first and foremost, you won't find people more excited about Masyn Winn than us. And so just not having him out there, it's less fun. The team's less good. Hopefully he recovers quickly. Doesn't sound like it's anything major. And so they're just protecting him, which makes sense. And hopefully he comes back soon and comes back healthy.
Yeah, major bummer, as you said. He is the only real shortstop on the 26-man roster. So the Cardinals are kind of faking it until they make it right now. But luckily, it's not too long. But that back is a little worrisome for a guy so young. We'll see. But I agree. He was starting to show signs. Then he goes on the IL. But, I'm sure he'll be back very quickly. In a corresponding move, the Cardinals activated Nolan Gorman Gormania rising. We are
Yes.
back, Nathan.
Yeah, well, that's what I was, saying. Like the roster squeeze has impacted him the most, and so they don't really have a backup shortstop. That had been something we'd been talking about for a while. That was the decision to keep Siani and Lucan Baker and Alec Burleson has resulted in not having a real backup shortstop, which you
It's a
don't really think
beefy
of.
bench.
Yeah, which you don't think is really going to be necessarily a problem when you think you have a young dynasty shortstop on your team. But here we are. And so the Cardinals have decided to band-aid. And I actually think I like this decision. They have happening as Brendan Donovan has been playing short. And that is opening the door for Nolan Gorman to get to play every single day. So,
Which is kind of a must, right? Like if
yeah.
Masyn Winn is down, we talked about it weeks ago. One of the prime goals of this season is seeing what Nolan Gorman is, what he can be, and can he improve and stay consistent. So if you have one of those guys out of the rotation, it makes sense to force him into the lineup, even
Yeah.
if that means playing Brendan Donovan out of position. And Brendan's done just fine so far, which is really exciting. And with the way he's hitting, like if you took a snapshot of today, Brendan Donovan is one of the best stops in baseball. Just hitting, playing a fine defense.
Yeah.
He's hitting number 3 for a really good offense. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, had 4 hits yesterday. I mean, he's been
Yeah.
kind of all over the place. I believe he's leading the team in F4 right now, which is not particularly surprising considering what he's been doing. And yeah, he's made a few errant like it's such a clear difference going from Masyn Winn.
Masyn Winn is a Gold Glove level shortstop.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is one of the best in the league.
But over a 2-week period or so, like he seems to be doing fine.
Yep.
And if it means we get that full look at Nolan Gorman, I'm here for it. I'm hopeful that Gorman really takes advantage of this 10 days we come out the end of this, even with Winn being healthy, thinking, well, Gorman has to be in the lineup. Now, that's a lot to ask. He had a slow start to the season, then the IL and everything, but like, we're both big believers in Nolan Gorman.
And I think with Burley's slow start, it's that door, if like you said, he can perform over these 10 days, then it's a pretty clear line to me that, Gorman starts getting starts at DH over Alec Burleson as Burley tries to figure out what's going on with him. I was looking at his numbers today, is yet to barrel a ball this year. Now, not terrible results when you look under the hood. He's got some hard contact, but not a single barrel, which is kind of what you think, that's kind of his game, right? Is hitting the ball really freaking hard quite often. But still early, nothing I'm worried about. But it, like I said, path to playing time, it makes a lot of sense. I think Gorman, Baker as DH probably would be my ideal anyways, just because I'm more curious what those guys can do over Burley. But yeah, we'll see.
And with the rest of the lineup doing generally so well, it does feel like you have a little bit more space to throw these guys out there, give them ABs and let them develop. Hopefully,
so far that's worked for damn near everybody on the team. Just give these guys ABs and see what happens. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's been the story of this season so far is the consistent approach across the entire team. We've been really hyping Walker. It's still a fun at bat to watch. We need to see some of the slugs start to come, and maybe we're starting to see that. He had the 112 mile per hour home run.
My God,
he got his first double. So I was looking at it before we started. He's at a 103 WRC plus, which hey. It's above average slightly, but it is above average. And hilariously, he's right now, his best rating is on his defense. So
he looks like a completely different player in the outfield this year.
He really
completely different.
He looks good. I've been really hesitant. Yes. I'm just so hesitant to start really going in that direction because of how rough it's looked in the past. But right now he is a positive force defensively in right field. And
it can't be argued. He has made some dazzling plays. He hasn't made any mistakes. And he's still got the rocket arm. He's still got a ton of speed. He's still Jordan Walker. It looks real.
Yeah. It's exactly what you want to see from a guy of his age. It's just getting better, and he's getting better at everything. So I'm really hoping the slug starts to fall. I'm not even saying home runs. A lot of people have seen him as a 30, 40 type home run guy, and you get it. You look at him, you look at guys of his size in the league, but his approach has always just been hit the ball hard. And, I've seen him, I've always thought probably in his younger years, I think Kyle said something similar on the show at one point too, is like, we got to stop looking at him as why isn't he hitting 30 home runs? And it's more as is he hitting for a high average, and those are going over the wall from time to time. And then maybe when he's, 26, 27, big power years, we start to see the 30, 40 home runs. But what I'm looking for is the hard hit and, the hitting the ball on the line instead of hitting it straight down, which
I think the expectation of having a guy break into the big leagues and immediately being a power threat is silly. Figure out how to hit. It's really, really hard to do. He's big enough and has enough bat speed and enough everything to be successful, and the slug will come. I'm not worried about that.
The only guys, generally speaking, who come into the league immediately with big power are like the big lift and pull guys who are going up there to do one thing. They think about only one thing, and it's disgusting. You know what I mean?
Classic guys, am I right?
And
lift and separate.
And that's not his game. It's hit the ball hard in every direction. So, few other moves. The Cardinals have recalled right-hander Matt Svanson. Svanson. It is a beautiful day to sit down. And he'll make his major league debut at some point.
Probably
today.
Might as well just get him in there, right?
Teams like to do that. That has always made sense to me too. Is like just call them up, get them in, just get it over with, so they're not just tossing and turning in their hotel beds all night. But
no need to wait around.
Yeah, and Roddery Munoz was optioned back to Memphis, so we're starting to get a glimpse of what this Memphis shuttle might look like. Which bullpen guys might be back and forth. So congrats to Matt Swanson. We'll see him at some point. Hopefully he goes well. And I suspect we'll see Roddery back at some point too.
I will say, obviously, Roddery did not have a ton of success with his little cup of coffee, but he threw a handful of sliders that were absolutely disgusting, making major league hitters look stupid. There's a lot in that tank. If Cardinals can figure out how to use it and figure out how to keep him in the zone a little bit more and focus on that swing and miss, you see why he's here and why, that was a shoulder that they wanted to tap and get him up there. He also threw a center fastball to a very good hitter and gave up a huge bomb. But man, there are some sliders in there.
Yeah.
Looking at Matt Swanson, he's a little old. He's a reliever. He hasn't really done anything that is super, super exciting. He's a fastball slider guy. If you remember, the Cardinals got him in the trade with the Blue Jays a couple of years ago. But yeah, it's another young guy. He doesn't walk people, which is probably why they wanted him up over than Roddery. But yeah, it's a new face. No, I don't think anyone will be he just is the most exciting player in the system. But it's kind of his turn. We'll see what he has in 5 2/3 innings in AAA this year. Over 4 games, he did put up a 1.59 ERA. So that's great. We'll see what he does.
Yep. Another move that was just broke, I think yesterday or the day before. Cooper Hjerpe has undergone Tommy John and will be out, year and a half. Everybody's recovery is a little different. But another bummer here on this Weed Easter week. It is, this is just the life of a pitching prospect. It's like no one gets out alive. You know what I mean? Like we're all year, they're dropping like flies. I know a lot of people are hyped about Hjerpe in the long run. Count myself included in that, but we won't see him for a while. So hopefully he recovers well and he can be a part of the team in 26 or 27.
Yeah, I was really high on Hjerpe this year and thought that he would even potentially impact the big league club in a relief role or somehow. But obviously that is out the window. We'll see him probably this time next year, starting a late spring training and hopefully getting healthy quickly. He's young, so
Yeah.
I hope these young guys bounce back. But yeah, very disappointing. I will say, if you watch the guy throw, it doesn't shock you. Although, like you said, there's no real such thing as a pitching prospect. All their elbows blow up. It is what it is. But yeah, too bad.
I was reading the other day. I know this happens, but it still was just so shocking to me. Hagen Smith, the White Sox prospect they drafted out of last year, pretty high up. He had Tommy John when he was 16 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm like, is that good? Is it because a lot of people think, oh, he's already had it. You'll see people who are like, oh, this guy's already had it. That's good. But then also people have to have it multiple times sometimes. So is it a good thing that he got it so early, or is that a signal of things to come? I don't know. But
you look at Nathan Eovaldi, he got all his surgeries out of the way, and now he's settled into being a very good pitcher. I think it is impossible to predict, though, and I would say I would much rather have somebody with no Tommy John surgeries than one or two and just kind of roll with it. But
thinking of being like a sophomore in high school having Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, that is.
But he was a top 10 draft pick this year, or 11 or 12.
Yeah, well, that's the whole problem that we found ourselves in, right? It's max effort gets you paid, and teams like the Dodgers and a lot of teams will just prioritize that over anything, and they'll just hope that you're healthy at the right time. Hopefully the health aligns at the right time, so the team is good at the same time, and if not, it just doesn't. And it's honestly, I think it's the biggest problem, or one of the biggest problems baseball has right now is the injuries to pitchers. Just is an epidemic. But there's no way to fix it, or at least I can't think of a good way to fix it.
3-inning max.
So a guy comes out, he throws as hard as he can for 3 innings.
Yeah,
four times a week. Yeah, that's definitely the way to avoid injury.
Yeah, thank you. Wow,
yeah,
I'm so
very
glad
smart.
we agree.
It's very smart. It's very smart.
Max effort gets you paid. That's why we here at Talking About Birds are pioneers in the attempt at low effort gets you paid. Now, so far we've been clocking in weekly with the
swing and a miss
effort.
on that one.
We're maximizing low effort here at Talking About Birds. We're pioneers in the space.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
All right. I know you wanted to talk about the Cardinal pitching, at least on the starting rotation over the last week.
Is that okay with you?
You may proceed.
All right. The Cardinals have just put together a ridiculous week of pitching. The starting pitchers alone threw 37 innings and put up a .97 ERA over that time. That's 4 earned runs.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it's the Cardinals. They didn't strike everybody out, which, that's fine because they put up those ridiculous numbers. But over this week, they had the second best rotation in all of baseball. And we pretty much got a great start from everyone. I referenced even our buddy Miles Michaelis had a really nice start over that time period. Like, I don't know if I can remember the Cardinals having a week like that, or if so, it's been a very long time.
Yeah, and again against like the Phillies, right? Like they're not necessarily fully in form yet. Trey Turner's having a slow start, but Schwarber is one of the best hitters in baseball right now, and they've got Harper. I mean, it's a good team, right? So it's not been against shitty offenses. And this is what I was talking about at the top of the episode, where it's like, this is kind of where I feel like this is what a 500 team looks like sometimes. Is like you can be one of the best rotations in baseball, but the week before that, everybody got lit up by like mediocre teams,
Right.
And we're just not seeing that consistency from the pitching. But you can see why, like after a week like this, like Well, of course they're good. They've got Sonny Gray. They've got Eric Fetty, Liberator, we're going to talk about in a minute. Looks like a rising star. Like you got every piece you need for a good rotation, but I'm just not there yet. And, I'm of course happy to see it. But are you a believer in this rotation yet?
Yeah, am I a believer in this rotation yet? I would say no, simply said. I do think, and we'll, like you said, we'll dive into Libby's performance a little bit here. But I think that with Matt's and with Miles Michaelis, and I think the youth, it's really hard to bet any serious money. But I've said this since we signed Sonny Gray and since we acquired Eric Fetty, two very, I think, underrated pitchers. Sonny Gray less underrated than Eric Fetty. But when both guys are right, which they often are, they have good, either good to great strikeout stuff. They have good command. They don't walk anybody. And they can put up some innings and look really good. And having a 1-2 like that is valuable. It could be a lot better, but it could also be a lot worse. And I just see a pathway, if those guys are consistent, that just makes the Cardinals pretty good, especially, when you look at the other kind of starting rotation options in the Central. It doesn't look that bad.
No, Milwaukee, they're finding themselves in a tough spot, and the Cubs may as well. We'll talk about it a little bit later.
Yeah.
Let's dig in. Let's dig in on Liberatore though.
So Libby, sorry, you go. What were you going to say?
I was going to kick it over to you to talk about some of Libby's underlying stats and what we're seeing from him.
So I wanted to kind of dive into, obviously Liberatore had a ridiculous start his last time through the rotation. And I want to caveat this conversation with, we've only had 3 starts, so I'm only reporting on what we have. And if you look at his metrics for his last start, it was one of the best starts he's ever done from a stuff standpoint. Every pitch, it was the best he had thrown a lot of pitches. It was the best his 4-seam fastball has looked. I mean, he just looked like a different pitcher. And if he could just keep that going, we have a Cy Young candidate. I don't think he's that pitcher, because that was just an outlier performance. He really, really shoved. But hey, if we can get this a few times a year from Liberatore, if this is the ceiling, then hell yeah, sign me up for that, because he looked great. But what I wanted to talk about is, as he's gotten better as the year has gone on, is that he has started to ditch the fastball usage. So Liberatore has a 4-seam, he has a sinker, and a cutter. So obviously 3 different types of fastballs. In his first start on April 1st, he threw those almost 72% of the time. Obviously really leaning on those 3 fastballs quite a bit. He has decreased those in each start. To last start, he was at 43% fastballs. That is almost a 30% decrease in fastball usage. As we've talked about, this is good because he has one of the best breaking ball combos in baseball, with a slider that is absolutely disgusting and a curveball that, while he's not using as frequently as a slider, might be one of the best curveballs in baseball. So he's been, every fastball you don't throw, that means that you're throwing a breaking ball or an off-speed pitch, and those pitches are performing very, very well. The 4-seam fastball had a 10-point drop. The sinker had a 24% drop, went from 24% usage to 11% usage. And we're also seeing his changeup is kind of coming out as this new pitch that might be another plus pitch. When you look at, he was throwing it less than 4%, less than 5% in his first couple of starts and throughout his career, really. That last start where he just shoved, it was up to 15%. And what is interesting about that is that his stuff plus on this pitch from his first start, if you remember, this is a Fangraph stat that bases it on mostly movement and nastiness. It was subpar at an 80. Then it jumped up to 90, which is still slightly subpar. And then in the last start, it jumped up to 110. So this pitch is actively being developed and thrown more. So when you combo that with decreased fastballs, more reliance on his breaking balls, and this emergence of what looks like a plus, at least, changeup, you see real changes that Liberatore is making to his repertoire, and then you're seeing the best start we've ever seen him throw in a Cardinals uniform. I'm really starting to get hyped on what Libby's doing is really what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah, I think you've said it multiple times, like throw your best pitch more. And that's what we're seeing from him. I think back to last week's episode with the story of Pozo coming out and saying, like, let's pitch these guys backwards. Let's lean more on the breaking stuff. So far, so good. We'll see if the hitters can make adjustments. Probably people going in with scouting reports looking for these fastballs. He's not throwing them like he used to, so they're being tricked. Are hitters going to make adjustments to his new pitch mix? Probably. But maybe hopefully the pitches are just good enough where it doesn't really matter if they're making adjustments. They're still just going to pound them into the ground rather than striking out or something like that. We'll see. That's part of the sort of cat and mouse game of pitching that we all love to watch. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how you'd be anything other than very, very excited. And you heard it here first, folks. The Cardinals won the Randy Arozarena trade. It's done.
I mean, you talk about like this guy starts developing into this type of pitcher, and I'm not saying I'm making that argument right now, but I am starting to get on that hype train. And I just think about like, okay, so if we are leaning on our breaking balls more, if we're developing a good changeup, okay, you have to worry about all this off speed and breaking ball stuff. When that fastball comes in at 96, 97, it's going to make that fastball look that much better. You just see how the whole repertoire builds and looks better and better based on this type of package and this approach. The stuff is there. It's can he be consistent? Can he have his sequences so that they make sense for him and play up his stuff? I'm hyped. I'm really feeling it. I want to see him throw again tomorrow. I'm ready to watch more Liberatore and watch this development kind of take shape.
Yeah. Well, and it's exactly what the Cardinals need. If we're going to be good in 2026 or this year, like we need a couple major league breakouts of young pitching, and this could go so far in making this a competitive team if Liberatore is an effective or very, very good starter. And yeah, you mentioned something like, you start thinking about someone just going all breaking ball, all off speed, and you start thinking, okay, it's like a junk ball sort of methodology, but then you remember that he actually has pretty high velocity with all these sorts of things. So it's not junk ball at all. I hate when you compare young players to inner circle Hall of Famers, but I think of like a Kershaw kind of guy, right? That is like it's stuff with velocity, and people just don't know what to do with it, right? And so that's obviously an insane peak, but like that's the type of pitcher that I think of when you think of someone from the left side who can have that sort of velocity with that sort of movement.
Yeah, and like I said, everything should, assuming the pitch mix is right, you just see everything playing up everything else, and when you're talking 3 to 4 potential plus pitches out of a starter, like that is, what makes a really solid number 2 or number 1. I don't want to give him too much credit. It's only been a few starts. But when you see it in the tank and you see a start like that and you see it against the lineup like that, your boy's getting really excited over here. It's a lot of fun.
And one last note, I've said it pretty much every time we talk about Liberatore, but he was also a former top prospect. So it's not like this is coming out of nowhere. People have been dreaming on this kid for a long time.
He's 25. He's 6'4". He's 220. Everything. It just it's easy to dream on this kid for sure.
Another thing that's going pretty well, we talked about it a little bit with Jordan Walker, but we're kind of seeing it across the board. Another question mark going into this season was the Cardinal defense. We know we have some studs there when you think of a Arenado and a Masyn Winn when he's healthy. But I don't know, kind of everyone is looking pretty good right now. How are you feeling about the defense?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it on a team level, depending on which stat you want to pick on, and, of course, a lot of these defensive stats are kind of squishy, so, feel free to criticize and pick apart. But going by the defensive rating stat on Fangraphs, the Cardinals are number 1 by quite a bit. They are leading the league in outs above average. They are third in the league on DRS. Basically, however you slice it, the Cardinals' defense has been really, really good. And I will say, I'll be the first to admit that, I like our catching group. I like Victor Scott in center field. I like Masyn Winn. And obviously, you have Nolan Arenado, who's one of the best to ever do it. I didn't really expect the team to be performing to this level. And I don't know if that is the Willson Contreras moving to first and doing a good enough job, if that is Jordan Walker figuring out right field, if it's just a culmination of all of these things. But if you're going to have, if the worst part of your team is going to be your pitching, which again had a great week last week, but your pitching staff as a whole, having a really good top 3 offense and having a really good top 3 defense makes life a lot easier, and it really can pick up a lot of mistakes from some of those pitchers.
Well, and we've seen a lot of wins now. The Cardinals shut out the Phillies twice in 3 games, which they hadn't done since like the 90s or something like that, and we're seeing great plays left and right. So it's also just more fun, we're fans. We view this as just like a thing to watch and enjoy. And so after having a pretty rough defense at times over the last few years, it's been really nice to see good defense and solid approach at the plate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anything else Cardinal related you want to dig into?
I did want to just call out that the Willson Contreras breakout is in progress. Over the last week, he led the team in barrels. The contact is looking hard. The swinging is looking better. He laced a double over an outfielder's head this week. I just wanted to call out that Willie's coming, and that's going to be a lot of fun because everybody else is hitting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, that's been one of the sort of like inverted fun things about this offense this year is that it's been really, really good. And the guy who's supposed to be the best has been the worst part of it. So like some people will view that as a negative. I think you and I, who have been screaming small sample size, about Willson Contreras from the very beginning, see this as like a huge positive that the offense is so good and the best part of it is not hitting yet. Imagine what that top of the lineup's going to look like, assuming Donovan and Nootbaar can continue to do some version of what they've been doing, at least from an on-base standpoint, with Willson right there. It can be a lot of fun.
Him thumping takes a lot of pressure off a lot of guys, and that means that Victor Scott can have a bad week or two. That means that Pedro Pages cannot be the best hitting catcher in baseball for a month or whatever, however this all shapes out. Just takes a lot of pressure off the rest of the offense, and he's fun to watch when he's good too. He is very, very exciting.
Yeah. Give some love to Pedro Pages. He's still doing it. He's doing it. I'm here for it. I know.
Absolutely.
I think we're sort of in the middle on him. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe he is. Maybe he's a true slugger. We'll find out. I guess he's getting plenty of runway.
Nothing would make me happier than to be wrong about my evaluation of Pedro Pages' long-term offensive future. Yeah. But yeah, he's the man.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to talk about some upcoming series, some league news, and other things. And before we get to that, though, we want to remind everybody that this show is listener supported on Patreon. Patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds. If you've been enjoying the show and want to show your support more directly, we truly appreciate it. Check out our Patreon. We've got a bunch of different levels. But even just a couple bucks a month, it all adds up. It helps us pay for the production of the show and, making sure it looks good, it sounds good, all of that. And it comes to you every single week. So again, thank you to our existing patrons. If you've been considering, just, go and check it out. Patrons of any level get access to the private Discord. It's basically like an online chat server, if you're not familiar, where listeners of the show and us are in there every day, sort of live chatting as the games are going on. It's been a lot of fun. Feels really engaging, way more like active with other fans than you might be used to from a social media perspective. So if you're looking for a cool little community of other Cardinal fans, like this is the place to be. So again, that's patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds. We also appreciate anyone who leaves us a review on your favorite podcast platform. That really helps. And also, go ahead and tell your friends, tell your family. We appreciate that too. It's Weed Easter, so when you've eaten your chocolate egg full of just ground up.
You really started that without anywhere to go. That was good. I like that.
That's everything I say.
Yeah.
When you're eating your,
I'm always bad at this. He retorts.
Yeah. You've merely adopted the bad at this. I was born in it, raised in it. Ben, tell people where else they can find us online.
Yeah, we're on all the socials. We're over at Blue Sky. We're on Instagram. We have a TikTok. You can listen to this show on Spotify if you're one of those freaks. You can also listen to us on YouTube, and we put the whole videos up on YouTube now, too. So you could just listen, or you could watch our faces flap around wildly for an hour plus on YouTube if you'd like to do that. You can find all of that podcast information, socials, t-shirts, everything at talkingaboutbirds.com. And of course, you can reach out to us, email us for whatever reason you might have to talkaboutbirds@gmail.com. And do not forget, Nathan, that you can call us and leave a voicemail or send us a text message. Yes, an SMS to 848-48-BIRDS. That's 848-482-4737.
Do your text and data rates apply?
I think. I don't know. Probably. Everyone's got unlimited texting, right? Like,
what
no
do we
one
do?
pays per text, right? Yeah. That's wild.
I also want to give a shout out to someone who left us a review on Apple Podcasts. They left it as the name Lone Star Yankee. Not someone you'd expect to be a Cardinal fan, but Lone Star Yankee, among many things, wrote great show. Lone Star Yankee, I think you're a great person. So thank you for taking the time to.
I mean, I guess they could just be like a Texas Patriot, right? And
right.
They're not. It's not in a baseball context.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Or Lone Star Beer. Maybe they're an alcoholic.
Patriot. Sure. I was gonna say, you think we have a lot of Texas Patriot listeners? Maybe.
I don't know.
We're taking our country back. All right. Let's talk about the Cardinals continue a challenging schedule. And maybe it's the right time. Maybe everything's clicking. Now's the time to get these hard games out of the way. I don't know. But we've got 3 against the Mets and then 3 against the Braves. Road series against some of the top of the NL East. Although, I don't know. We'll talk about the Braves. But let's start with the Mets. Huge offseason signing. Juan Soto. We got Francisco Lindor. This is one of the star-studded teams, right? This is one of. Everyone talks about the Dodgers, of course, but the Mets are one of these teams chock full of good players. A few holes, a few people struggling to start the season, but this is a pretty good team.
Yeah, and I want to correct the outline really quick. I just realized it's actually a 4-game set.
It's
against
4
the Mets.
games. Wow.
So Thursday through Sunday, looks like the Cardinals are going to be facing in order. We got David Peterson, Griffin Canning, Kodai Senga, and Clay Holmes. And I think that's where this conversation needs to start, is that there's a couple of really good pitchers in that. Clay Holmes, who's been converted from a reliever to a starter, has looked really, really good in the early going. I think we talked about Kodai Senga a couple of weeks ago, but he is healthy
he's
and
good.
Effective right now. The ghost fork is real. That fastball is real. He has looked really, really nice so far this season.
Thinking like spooky, like a spooky dinner with a ghost fork. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. That was good. And then we got to talk about the two boppers. You said Juan Soto. Guess what? Juan Soto is really good. What's more frustrating than that, Nathan?
I know there's a big tough guy on that team,
and he's been bopping.
He's been-
He's looked really, really good this year. So he's got 73 plate appearances. He's already got 5 home runs. His isolated slugging is 373. He's getting on base 15, or he's walking 15% of the time. He's got a 277 WRC plus. He is looking like that guy. Usually kind of a slow starter. He's locked in right now. Pete is good.
Yeah, well, let's just get Stubby Clapp out there to take him down. Of course, Pete Alonso, big tough guy, Cardinal fan favorite.
Yeah, we love him. The Mets are 11-6. They're leading their division right now. Yeah. They're doing everything that you want them to do. They have a fine enough bullpen. Their superstar closer Edwin Diaz hasn't really clicked in yet, but that seems like that could happen at any moment. So be on the lookout there. But yeah, they're a good team. They're the second most expensive team in baseball. They should be good, and they are.
Yeah. Oh, basically, just Griffin Canning there is like the one guy you're like, okay, he really has still never really put it together. He's been a guy that a lot of people have sort of hyped for a long time. He has the stuff, but it's inconsistent. So we'll see.
He pitched a gem against the Cardinals in spring training. Now that's spring training, so I'm not worried about it, but that did happen.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason the Mets went and got him. There's a reason he's been on teams for years. There's some upside there. It's really inconsistent. So that might be a chance. But obviously, we've been saying like the Cardinal defense or offense has been good against everybody. Right. So might be a chance to go into Mets Park there and clean out some pond scum.
Okay. Landed the plane perfectly.
How about the Braves? Now this has been a surprise. One of the early surprises of the season.
Yeah, and I think by that, Nate, means that they are 5-12 to start the year. Absolutely not what we expected. I mean, it took them almost 2 weeks to even win their first game. Really rough start. But I want to start with the starting pitching again. And I think, the big story here is the Cardinals are going to draw Spencer Schwellenbach on the first game. He's pretty good. Spencer Strider is going to make his first start back in the big leagues today as we're recording Wednesday. And then his next start will be against your St. Louis Cardinals. So we'll get a little preview of how he's looking today. I guess yesterday, if you're listening to this episode on Thursday. And then we'll see him against the Cardinals right after that. And, Spencer Strider's really, really, really good.
The thigh master. Yeah, people are talking about his drop in velocity, which is true. He's down a couple ticks, but he's also struck out 27 in 13 innings in his rehab. So I'm not too. It doesn't seem like the drop in velocity is impacting him. He good. He real good.
He's really good. He's really, really good. And
I saw a stat recently that there was like the Braves. They were like 2-9 or 1-8 or something like that. It was no team that started 2-9 or whatever it was, something around there, has ever made the playoffs. And I thought, well, that's not surprising. Usually, if you start 2-9, you're a really bad team. Right. But Austin Riley's been bopping again. Matt Olson hit a dinger yesterday, so he seems to be maybe warming up. Like Acuna is going to be back here in a month or two. Yeah. Like if there's ever a team that can just flip a switch and suddenly become one of the best in baseball again, like I think it's this team. So I don't think you can go in looking at this team as a team that is bad. They just had a really low variance start to the season, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, Sean Murphy is also back and healthy, and when he's healthy, he's one of the better offensive catchers in the game. Michael Harris II is an extremely good center fielder and also quite a good hitter. I fully agree with everything you said. I think the big thing to note is that Austin Riley, like you said, has been on fire, and the Cardinals will likely be catching him. Well, he's still really good. Marcell Ozuna and Matt Olson, lots of power at the top of that lineup. I expect them to be good. I would throw the record out of the window, at least from the Cardinals' perspective. It's going to be a tough series. They're really good. Their bullpen hasn't really come together yet. Raciel Iglesias has had a rough start to the year, but the rest of that team looks solid.
Yeah. All right, tough week, but as we've said, Cardinals are looking, we'll see how this game ends against Houston. I just checked in, they're down by 1, so it could still go in any direction.
Yep.
We'll determine if this was a winning week or just a 500 week for the team, but either way you slice it, I think we all would call this a good outcome for this week against the teams they played. And this will be another tough week. So at the very least, should be fun. It's fun to watch the Cardinals against these other, very, very good teams. We got a little bit of league news to jump through. You want to take us through this?
Yeah, not too much going on, but I did want to talk about Aaron Judge has been named the captain and the first recruit to Team USA in the 2026 World Baseball Classic. If you remember, he did not play last time it happened because he was going through a crazy contract negotiation and decided to focus on making $400 million rather than playing for his country. So, whatever. But he's the first one to join. I think that is a good sign for Team USA. If the best player from the United States is on the team, then you would think that the rest of the team is going to fill out really well.
Mm-hmm.
Mark DeRosa is going to be the manager again. I think the big question is just which pitchers are going to come. And, if you remember last year, it was like most of the Cardinals rotation and some guys, they were older. And I expect probably a similar, like Spencer Strider, probably not going to be a part of the team because of health issues. But we'll see. Maybe they'll surprise us.
Yeah, I know Glasnow was talking about how he really wants to be there, but he's a guy who has consistent health issues. And he's like, my first goal is to get through this season without a problem. And that'll set me up to be a part of it. It is one of it's the inherent problem. The All-Star game has the same thing. It's like any baseball game that is not a Major League Baseball regular season or playoff game, you're going to struggle to get pitchers to fully commit to it unless they're kind of already along in their career enough where it doesn't really matter as much to them, like an Adam Wainwright, a couple of years ago. And I don't really know how you solve that. I know
I don't think you can.
Yeah,
I don't think you can. I think the thing that you can wish upon is the fact that the United States should be able to put together such a ridiculous offense that they could bop everybody out of the stadium anyways. But that didn't happen last year because Japan brought their aces to the
yeah, they did.
They showed up.
Yeah, they did. It was the Roki Sasaki and all those guys. So
yeah.
All that aside, such a huge fan of the World Baseball Classic. I'm so excited for it to happen again. Not to be too dark, 2026. We'll see about how baseball as the season is going to go as well. So, when it comes to contract and CBA being up and everything. So, maybe the most competitive baseball we get for a little while, which actually might impact the team compositions as well. But all that aside, I love the World Baseball Classic. And if you're rooting for the USA, you can't be more excited than Aaron Judge signing up already.
Yeah. Ooh, Justin Steele, the Cubbies ace pitcher, to undergo season-ending elbow surgery. He will be out for the next year. And obviously a massive blow to the best team record-wise in the Central, who has been on fire, absolutely dominating.
Yeah, we said at the beginning of the season the Cubs should be a good team this year, but they don't. It's at least from our perspective, they don't have a ton of depth, and they really need their high end players to really carry this team. And we've been seeing Kyle Tucker absolutely doing that.
Oh my God, has he had a good start to the
year.
Like
MVP right now, right? Like if the league,
he's the best player in baseball right now.
Yeah. And that's really supported that team who's seen someone like Matt Shaw, who just got demoted, where he did not click out of the gates, but it kind of hasn't mattered when you've got Kyle Tucker there in the middle. Their pitching, Imanaga seems incredible. He's had a good start. But losing Justin Steele already, it's a long season, and they really needed him. So we'll see how that impacts that team, and if they're able to recover. Right now it seems so, but That's rough.
If you're John Mozeliak, do you call the Cubbies and start dangling Eric Fetty?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still like, as much as I want the Cardinals to win this year and have a surprise season that shocks the world and all that. Like, Mozeliak needs to be keeping a foot in that camp and start calling these teams or pitchers are going down and just saying like, hey, I know it's early, but here's a guy to keep an eye
Yeah.
on. We've talked about the long-standing sort of unwritten rule of not doing major deals with your in-season or your in-division competition and whatnot. But maybe that gets a little bit lighter on a guy that's on a one-year deal where you're just trading for right then.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would make sense, and that call should be made. All right, last piece of news. The Rockies have placed Chris Bryant back on the 10-day IL. It's been reported. This has been reported several times, but the back, I kind of wonder if this is it, Nate, if he ever swings a bat again, because it seems like every time he does, bad things happen. I don't know if he's structurally sound enough to do it anymore. And I almost think we're at the point where how Prince Fielder kind of negotiated a retirement severance type package with the Rangers. If something similar like that will happen with the Rockies and Chris Bryant, because it's just it's hit a point now where it's untenable. His body's broken. I mean, it's too bad, but it is what it is. I know I give him a lot of crap. It's not his fault. But we're here.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if you zoom out and you're just a fan of good baseball and exciting players and all that, like it's hard to be more disappointed and sad. Then it's hard to be anything other than sad for someone like Chris Bryant. Yeah, if you remove the Cardinal rivalry side of it and all that, like looked like future Hall of Famer sort of guy, and now possibly out of baseball at 32, I think, something like that.
33 this
30,
year.
33, because of a degenerative back issue. It's like David Wright, who was really good for a lot longer, but still like just all the talent in the world, and just his body won't let him do it anymore. He'll be fine outside of baseball, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just a game. It is what it is, but it's disappointing. And of course, the Rockies are the ones who have to eat the eat the end of his disappointing career.
Yeah, it is. It's almost like it could have been avoided, but we are where we are, and that's it.
Yep.
And that's also it for league news this week.
All right, we're gonna wrap up this episode with a fun game. Ben, it's funny you wanted to talk about the hot dog slider here at Busch Stadium. Well, earlier today I was thinking Slinger, not slider.
Jesus.
Jesus. Yes, my child. It is. We've got fans back in ballparks. Stadiums are doing everything they can to get people back in the ballpark, and of course, they turn to wacky and wild food. So I did one of my favorite searches this morning, which was baseball food, and tapped that little news button there, and I found this article: the wackiest, coolest, and most unexpected MLB ballpark food debuting in 2025. This is coming from Sports Illustrated. So we're playing another edition of League Chews, spelled CHEWS.
Yeah.
I've got a list of food here. Some of it is real food that is being served at ballparks in the United States or Canada.
Some of it's not.
Some of it's not.
Can I just say before we go, if you are supporting Sports Illustrated in any way, shape, or form, stop it. This is not directed at you, Nate. This is directed at anybody that might be listening. They fired basically all their writers. It's all AI generated content. They suck as a company, and I just wanted to say that.
I agree. I suspect that this whole article was written by an AI thing. So, but we're going to use it as our source for this anyway. So here we go. So I'm going to say
barrel through.
Yep. I'm going to say the name of the item. You tell me, is it real? And then we'll go from there.
All right.
The Daddy Mac Dog.
The Daddy Mac dog. I mean, it sounds like a big dog with a bunch of mac and cheese on it. Obviously, totally plausible. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's real.
That's right. That is at the down in Houston at the Astros ballpark. It is a foot-long Angus beef hot dog topped with chopped brisket, mac and cheese, barbecue sauce, and crispy dill pickles.
Now, if you take that mac and cheese off, that sounds fantastic.
I like mac. So Steve's Hot Dogs here in St. Louis, kind of
Yeah.
an institution at this point. That was the first place that I had mac and cheese on a hot dog, and I like it. I mean, it is kind of like, like starch on starch sort of thing, but it's good. I like it.
Yeah, not for me.
I like it. I like cheese on hot dogs, and so
Sure. Yeah, I get that.
put some noodles on there. Get yourself a stew
good.
going. All right.
Yeah, I'm good.
The walk-off waffle bucket.
Walk-off waffle bucket. Walk-off waffle bucket. So obviously we're talking about waffle fries here. Walk-off, that's a baseball term. It doesn't sound that crazy though, unless this thing is like massive. Is this like a 10-gallon bucket of waffle fries? That's the only way I would think it would make this list. You like wordplay or like that kind of stupid bullshit, like walk off waffle. That's a Nate Ash thing right there. So I'm gonna say this is fake.
You see right through me, Hambone. Yep, the walk-off waffle bucket is not real. Okay.
Now I would like a bucket of waffle fries. Let's be clear about that.
Sure, yeah. I like a waffle fry. What's your
Hell
favorite?
yeah.
What's your favorite fry? Form factor.
Wow. I mean, waffle might be it right
Waffles
there.
up there.
It's a good sauce delivery mechanism. Also, you get all your nooks and crannies.
Really,
I like
English
a
muffin.
crinkle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, probably a waffle fry. Really, that's that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good choice. I'm not a big. I like a sauce. Don't get me wrong, but my ideal fry is one that I actually am not dunking in anything.
Tell you what, Nate, and this might. I'm not sure how you're going to feel about this. I am a fry and mustard guy.
You disgust me. I'm not a
I think
mustard
it's
man.
delicious.
I've said this before. I'm not a mustard man. I would like to like mustard. It seems like a thing that, you go to the grocery store and they got whole sections committed to mustard. Yeah, but I'm not a mustard man. But I like a thin and crispy fry. I think, that's my ideal. After that, yeah, like a waffle or a seasoned curly.
Ooh, hell
about
yeah.
that?
Seasoned curly is good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, moving on. Cotton candy fries.
Cotton candy fries. Okay. Would that be cotton candy in the shape of fries or fries with cotton candy on them? Or is it just cotton candy in like a fry vessel? It doesn't make sense to me. I'd obviously need to see this. I'm going to say that it's real, though. I have this feeling that it's a thing.
It is at the Blue Jays. So it says a new creation in which cotton candy sits atop fries that have been drizzled with some sort of blue sauce.
Some sort of blue sauce. What a great article here. That really they got in and did the reporting.
Okay. S'mores quesadilla.
Oh, that better be real. I'm going to say yes, that is real. It sounds fantastic.
Philadelphia Phillies, you're 4 for 4 so far. Real Brendan
Yes.
Donovan. S'mores
yeah.
quesadilla. It is kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would eat the shit out of that. That sounds great.
Ghost pepper cotton candy chicken tenders.
Ghost pepper cotton candy chicken tenders. Okay. So I mean it's kind of the same thing as the cotton candy fries, right? And I feel like ghost pepper is a thing that like chain restaurants do. Ghost pepper cotton or chicken. Sure, that's real. I'm gonna say it's real.
I got you with that one, Hambo.
Damn.
It's too many adjectives. It does
Yeah,
sound like a
it
real
kept
one,
going.
though.
Yeah.
Ghost pepper cotton candy chicken tenders.
Yeah.
Ghost pepper cotton candy chicken tenders.
Yeah, it's kind of got a rhythm to it. Yeah.
Ghost pepper cotton candy chicken tenders. Yeah, it doesn't work. All right. Polish Cannonball.
Polish Cannonball. So that's obviously a Pirates thing. There's a decent Polish population in Pittsburgh. They like their sausages. Makes a lot of sense to me. I'm going to say yes, that's a thing.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a bonus point on that one too, Hambone. You got it all the way down to the team, the Pittsburgh Pirates. They have a Polish Cannonball.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's fried bites.
I don't even know what it is, but
yeah. Egg noodles, kielbasa, cabbage with bacon and cheddar cheese.
Ooh, talk about a cannonball. My God.
Okay. Grand Slam Glizzy Float.
Grand Slam? This is again sounds like Nady bullshit. Grand Slam Glizzy Float. I don't think a team would refer to their hot dogs as a glizzy. It's the only reason I'm really calling this one out, so I'm going to say this is fake.
Yeah, it's fake.
Yeah.
I want that language to start breaking through to the corporate world.
Yeah, it will. It'll get there. It's just, 5-year delay.
All right. Lil Dumpers.
Lil Dumpers. I want it to be real. And Kyle Raleigh, the big dumper. So I'm going to associate this with Seattle and say that it is real, mostly because I want it to be real.
It is real, Hambone, and it is there in Seattle's ballpark.
Hell yeah.
It's dumplings.
Hell yeah.
They're calling them Lil Dumpers.
That is genius.
It is genius. It makes I gotta feel a little. Can I get a basket of fries, some Lil Dumpers?
It's like a lot of these craft breweries. They make you like you want to order their beer, but you have to say the dumbest shit imaginable to order their beer. Yeah. But Lil Dumpers, I'd be there all day.
All right, I got just a couple more for you. Triple Play Funnel Cake Pizza.
Triple Play Funnel Cake Pizza. Wow. Funnel cake pizza and French toast dip really they really align, I think, as for the savory sweet thing going on there. Wow. Would somebody be bold enough to actually do that? Probably. I just don't. It's a savory funnel cake. I've never seen a savory funnel cake at a baseball stadium, but we have Polar Pasta out here in Colorado. I'm going to say it's real.
No, that one is fake, Hambone. Got you with that one. But I was thinking, like, would that work? I think the crispiness.
Probably, yeah.
It could work with the right toppings.
You're the pizza guy.
I think it could work. Like a sweetbread pizza.
Yeah, sweet bread is something different, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, you're right. All right. Dessert nachos.
That's a thing. Yes, easy.
In your Colorado Rockies stadium, have you had these?
I have not had these. I think they just came out this year, though. But yeah, I will be hunting those down. I also got to hunt down that Polar Pasta, which I totally failed on getting last year.
Yeah, you're a real me. Dessert nachos. This was on the list. It was the Colorado Rockies ballpark. It's like nachos, but it's like fried flour tortillas and stuff. With cinnamon and whatnot, kind of like almost like a sopapilla looking sort of thing.
Hell yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah. So you did pretty good, Hambone. I think we also might have crafted our own little menu here at some point. So.
Yeah.
So, hey, if you're out there listening and you go to a ballpark and you have something wacky, make sure you take a pic of it and send it to us. We want to see it.
I'm very curious about reviews. If you are out there at the ballpark and you have that slider hot dog, I would love to know if it's good.
Yeah. It has to be good, right?
Well, Aramark can mess up a lot of things, so I'm very curious.
That's a good point. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode. I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, I have not eaten lunch. I'm starving right now.
So that'll do it for this week's episode. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Reminder, check out talkingaboutbirds.com. We find links to the Patreon, socials, everything there. Check the show out on YouTube. And we will be back next week after another week of hopefully good Cardinal baseball. And until next week, go Cardinals.
Okay, bye.